welcome to Ohanga. Today, we will be introducing you to Maya. Maya is an artist based in Bristol, Rhode Island. She is a weaver and makes textiles on old-fashioned handlooms. In this video, Maya will walk us through the process of creating these beautiful hand-weaved towels, napkins, and placemats for your everyday use.
So everything kind of starts off on paper for me. The way a loom is set up, I guess when you're starting to plan the project, you decide how wide you want it to be. So when I make dish towels, say they're 22 inches wide, I need to determine what yarns I'm going to use to be doing those. And each yarn has a different weight. So some yarn, they're measured in, it's what's called ends per inch. So really the best commercial yarn is sold and they tell you kind of how many ends per inch is. But what I learned in school is you take a ruler and you wrap the yarn around it and fill a 1-inch section. And however many times the yarn has gone around the ruler in that section determines your ends per inch. It's called the set. So say the majority of the stuff that I do uses 10 strands of yarn per inch. So I have to calculate how many strands of yarn I need to get into that 22-inch wide piece. So anyway, so after you kind of determine how many pieces of yarn or you need to create your project, everything gets put onto the loom. And then it needs to be threaded through these little eye hooks, which are called the heddles. And the heddles are on different harnesses. So however many harnesses you use, kind of, I like to describe it as adding pixels to a picture. So typically I just use 4. But the more that you add, the more intricate of a weave. So basically my everyday things are just making rectangles and not really intricate designs. But if I were to use, 8, 10, 16 harnesses, I could get things like circles or things that kind of become circles and much more detailed, intricate designs. And that's really fascinating to me. I don't do much of that because I don't find that works for what I'm doing. But when I do get to experiment with it, it's really fascinating to kind of see how that all comes together. But anyway, so they get threaded through those little hooks on the harnesses. And then they also have to get threaded through this thing that's on the front of the loom called the reed. And the reed keeps the project to its desired width. So I said that 22 inches. So I'm threading each thread through these little slots and it ends up being that 22 inches. Okay. And then everything is also connected to petals. So as I'm weaving, I'm stepping on different petals and I'm lifting different things, and that is ultimately what creates the pattern or the changing of patterns through the design. You have to have a basic idea of what you want to do when you're setting up, but stepping on different petals can give you a completely different look depending on what you're trying to achieve. I mean, I never played the organ or would assume you're using both your hands and your feet at the same time to do that. I do a lot of counting in my head, a lot of fancy footwork, and I really enjoy that. Like I said, it takes a lot of right brain, left brain. So when I do set up a loom for a project, I try to get as much out of that one setup as possible. So something like the dish towels, I could probably get 60 to 80 dish towels out of one loom setup. So I'll weave one towel, then I'll put a little marker in, and I'll weave another towel. And then when I complete however many I need, or if I'm fulfilling an order, I can cut them off the loom and then separate them at my little line. And then everything gets sewed, the hem gets sewed, and then it gets put in the washing machine. So I shrink everything up and make it tight and kind of color fast before I sell anything, so that when a customer gets the product, it's not changing in any way. Even though I've been making dish towels for 12 years, I'm still excited about finishing it and getting it off the loom and getting it washed, because it changes so much throughout the process. And just that one subtle color change can make something look completely different. And it's still exciting to me that I just can't wait to see the final products. I mean, I know how some things are going to come out exactly because I've been doing the same thing the same way, but I try to keep it fresh and do something different as often as I can, because you definitely still need to have that excitement about the work, or else, what's the point of doing it? What I'm doing isn't computer aided in any way. So it hasn't changed in, I want to say thousands, hundreds of years. There are definitely modern practices that use computers to help with the design, or help, raise the patterns themselves, or send the shuttles back and forth. I do everything by hand. It's so satisfying.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.